Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Shanika Marie and we are back with another video. So this video is all about some questions that my followers on Instagram asked me about quitting my job. I did a little like question and answer, like ask me a question little thingy on Instagram and allow some of my followers to ask me questions about that season of my life, just to kind of give them maybe a revelation that God wants them to know, or just give encouragement for someone who may be about to do the same thing. So I decided to just felt led to do that there, and I actually have 3 questions that I'm going to be answering here. And I also wanted to give you guys an opportunity to leave me questions in the comments below. If you have any questions about my season of quitting my job, maybe you're in a season where God is telling you, or you feel like God is telling you, and you just have some questions about like what that may look like, or just some encouragement and insight on more insight about my season, feel free to leave me a comment. And if I do see that you guys are leaving comments, I'll do a part 2 to this video. Okay, so let's get right into it. So like I said, I have 3 questions from Instagram. So the first question, hold on, which one do I want to do first? Okay, so someone asked me, what did you do in your newfound downtime? So in my downtime, I found myself, what did I do? I spent a lot of time reading devotionals. I love the Bible app, and I love how you can just search whatever you're feeling and different plans will come up. So I became the Bible plan queen. And so Bible plans really helped me during that season. I found myself, just studying more and trying to get to know God in a more personal way. Because I can say that my time with quitting my job, like that, like transformed my faith into a whole nother level. Because I can say, I have been a believer. Like I guess a little bit about my testimony. I think I got baptized when I was 16, but I wasn't really taking God seriously. I kind of did it out of fear. I remember hearing this story about this person who kept putting off they was going to get baptized and they were going to give their life to Christ, tomorrow or next week or whatever. And then the day that they wanted, they had actually planned to give their life to Christ. They ended up dying before. It's horrible, I know, but when I tell you that scared me half to death, like I literally was like, okay, I'm getting baptized next week, because I ain't trying to die and be out here just, I'm not trying to go to hell, period. That is not what I want to do. So I ended up getting baptized, and to be honest, I didn't even really understand it, but I just knew I had to do it, because I thought that if I got baptized, like everything would be all, peaches and cream. But that is a lie. That is a lie. So another thing, okay, so I just lost my train of thought, y'all, sorry. So yes, I ended up rededicating my life. I think I was 24, 25. I can't even remember, but I didn't tell anybody, because my family, they had already seen me get baptized once. So I was like, you know what? I'm doing this for myself. So I'm going to get baptized again. And I just remember giving my life to Christ for real this time after a really bad breakup. And so even, when I did get baptized, I just felt like things were different for me. But that didn't mean that I didn't go through hard times, because I definitely did. But maybe I'll record a video about that soon. So let me know in the comments if you would like to hear more of my testimony and kind of how things went when I really gave my life to Christ. But this not the video for that, so we're not gonna do that. All right, so so I found myself I don't even know. Wait, let me go back. Sorry, y'all. Okay, yes. Found myself, spending more time with God, reading more devotionals. I also spent more time with my family, because when you work Monday through Friday, and then I used to have like weekends off, but I found myself, I was just so drained from my job. I just wanted to rest, and I wasn't able to see them as much as I wanted to. So during the week, I was actually able to go spend time with my family, to go see my mom and my sister and them, and then go see my dad's side of the family, my grandma. And during that season for me, my grandma also, she had retired from Walmart, and she had been working at Walmart for years. But I remember when I told her that I was quitting, she had told me to actually type up her letter too, because God was telling her to retire. And so we kind of stepped out on faith together, and God is still keeping us. And after, we both transitioned out of our jobs during the same time, we were able to spend a lot of time together. And she actually was having a knee replacement surgery. So I was able to be with her at the hospital. I was able to, take care of her the days after she got out the hospital. So I spent a lot of time, more time with my family than I ever had before. I also, was able to meet with friends more, and I guess is the word I want to say, cultivate, but just like spend more time with friends. During that time, I had other people like reaching out to me because they felt like God was telling them to do the same thing. And so I started doing like these little life strategy sessions with people, just to kind of help them get through some things, get through the hard things in life. So I was doing that. I was also had my little side hustle going on. So I was organizing closets when I could. I was also doing personal assisting. So I did that a little bit. So I was busy, even though I really wasn't like working like that. I maybe would work like maybe 1 or 2 hours. Maybe I'm going to say about 5 hours a week, but still, I made sure to keep myself busy. I was making sure my house was clean, and just making sure that I was doing productive things during that time. So, and I also allowed myself to rest too, because I also said in a previous video before that I do have ulcerative colitis, and at that time I was really sick. So I was resting and just taking care of myself and allowing God to heal me during that time. So that's a little bit about that's a little bit about the things that I was kind of doing during my downtime. Okay, question number 2. During my time of quitting, did I struggle to believe God would provide for me at any time? Absolutely. I'll be lying if I said I didn't. Y'all, let me tell you, I hated when the first of the month came. When the first of the month came, it was the most stressful period, because I knew like the 1st through the 4th, I didn't know how I was going to pay my rent. So just looking back on it now and knowing what I wanted, knowing what I know now, the enemy had me, look, when I tell you he was tormenting me during those times, like I remember days I would just cry because, just being so stressed and trying to figure out what God was going to do, instead of being still and knowing that he would, because he did it over and over and over again. But I still would find myself every time the first through the 4th, y'all, I was stressed. And to be honest, to this day, I still deal with money anxiety. Like, for some reason, I always just feel like, I'll never have enough, or I just need to hoard everything, because I feel like, if God calls me, tells me to do it again, or if I lose a job, which I actually lost a job in the pandemic, and that money anxiety rose up, y'all. And I'm actually thinking about doing a video about money anxiety. And if you struggle with money anxiety too, let me know in the comments, and I will do a video about that, like what my personal struggles are and how I'm working through it, because it's an uphill battle. I can't say it's something that I've been experiencing on the day-to-day basis. In the pandemic, like literally, it reminded me of that time, and y'all, your girl was struggling. I was struggling. And it didn't even, and that was another thing too. Like, I was actually reading a Bible plan about renewing your mind this week. And the first day it talked about how sometimes we can ask God for a miracle, and we think that when that miracle comes, that we will believe in him more, that we will, really put our faith in him. But that doesn't always happen. We have to know that we know that we know. It has to be rooted in just knowing, and not it can't be attached to the gifts. it has to be attached to the giver. And the giver is Jesus. He's the giver of all good things. And so that's something I had to learn in that season. And even now in this season, I have to constantly remind myself, like, put your faith in the giver and not the gifts. Because the gifts can be taken away in any moment. But the giver, we will always have him. He's always with us, no matter if we doubt him, no matter what, he's always with us, y'all. So yeah, that 1st to the 4th was a struggle for me. So that I can say that's a time period that I struggled to what was the question? Struggle to believe God will provide. And y'all, like I told you in the last video, it was like maybe 2 months before it was time for me to move out of my apartment. God didn't come. Well, no, I can't say that. I take that back. He didn't come through when I wanted him to. My rent was late. That meant it was going to be a fee. So I already had the rent money. And then it was an extra fee on top of that. When I tell you, I was hot. I was hot, y'all. I remember calling my now fiance and just was like, why would he not provide? Like, he's been providing all of this time. I remember blaming myself, like, what did I do? Like have I stopped putting my trust in him? Am I putting my trust in things and different things? And he just encouraged me, like, baby, hold on. Like, God, he got you. He did not bring you this far to leave you. And I had to constantly remind myself, not even every day, every minute, because that's how much I was struggling in my faith, during that time. Even though, some days were better than others, and some weeks were better than others. I still had times of struggling. And when he didn't come through when I wanted him to, but remember the story. And if you haven't watched the video, what was the last video? I talked about how God provided. If you haven't watched that video, you need to go back, because I actually talked about how God, when it was time for me to leave, how he was able to, how do I want to say it? He was able to apply. I had put a deposit down, of course, before moving in, and how that was down to the cent, the amount that I needed to kind of clear my balance at that apartment. So I thought that he had failed me, but no, he didn't. He knew all along. I just didn't know, and it just taught me, like, man, like, God really has me in his hands. So go back and watch that video for the full story on that. All right. So the third question is, how did that season affect me mentally, emotionally, physically? Like I told y'all, like kind of in the last question, what I struggled when we talked about, was there a time that I struggled to believe that God would provide? Y'all, mentally and emotionally, your girl was stressed, okay? Stressed. I was so stressed. And I know I used to think that I was bothering my fiance when I would tell him, about like how I was feeling and different things. But he was just so gentle with me and just reminded me, like, God wouldn't leave you. And he provided through him in amazing ways. And I felt bad about it, y'all. I felt so bad, because I'm like, he just my boyfriend. He ain't supposed to be helping me with stuff. Like, that's something for my husband to do. But God can use anybody. He can use anybody to help you. So I had to humble myself, and I had to allow, you know what? This is another thing God told me. Like, you can't choose how I provide for you. You can't just say, oh, I want you to provide this way, but not this way. Like, no, God is going to provide in ways that we don't even know about. He can provide in ways we don't know about. He can use family. He can use friends. He can use whatever. But you can't tell him how he can provide for you. Like, no, like, that's being selfish. Like, you can't do that. And so I had to allow God to do him, and allow him to, because how do we know, and this was something that my fiance helped me with too, like, how do we know that the person who is giving, how do we know that God isn't working on them to be more generous, or God isn't working on something internally in them to, like, hey, help this person out? You just never know what God is doing, but you can block that by trying to too independent and not humbling yourself to allow God to provide for you. And the word says that he ways out of no ways. Is that what I'm trying to say? I don't know. But yeah, like, God is a provider, and it doesn't, like, you can't just put him in a box to be like, oh, you can only provide this way. And I'm speaking to myself right now and encouraging myself, like, you can't put God in a box, because he wants to do things, he is the God of everything, and we can't tell him how to do his job. You can't tell him how to be a father. Like, no. So, I pray and hope that these questions has helped you in your journey. Again, I say, please leave me some comments at the bottom if you would like for me to answer more questions about that season in my life. I know this was kind of a short video, but I just wanted to answer these questions on video, post it on my YouTube channel, so people and even myself can actually look back and be encouraged by this. So